Hi, I'm Brett Parker, multimedia specialist for Packaging Strategies magazine. And today we're highlighting Fizz Creative, a marketing company headquartered in Cleveland, Ohio, that specializes in the marketing and packaging of various food and beverage products. The company was founded in 2010 by husband and wife duo Katie and Jasen Melnick, and I'm pleased to have them joining us today. Guys, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thanks for
Bill.
having us.
So first off, I was wondering if you could explain the origin story behind Fizz Creative. If you could talk a little bit about your backgrounds and how the company came to be.
Yeah, so we were, pretty fresh out of school, a couple years out of school. We'd both been working kind of these corporate jobs, and just feeling like we weren't really doing the work we wanted to do. So we were just thinking, what can we do to really have a thing that's our own, have express ourselves with creative work? And partly the name. So in 2010, we saw a lot of breweries were coming up, but a lot of them had really bad branding. So we thought, well, Fizz sounds like will appeal to breweries,
Mhm.
especially. And we've never really worked the brewery,
Yeah.
despite that. But
They're
you know,
like the hot high school chick,
well,
like
like
they're just hard to get.
they're like, I brewed three beers, and I have like two people making logos for me. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
then forget it. But
Yeah.
so we do, but we've worked a lot in the food space. Originally, we started in branding,
Mhm.
and we've expanded that into packaging the last 7, 8 years.
Yeah.
So branding is still a big part of what we do, but just now the first phase as we move towards package design for most of our clients.
Yeah. So we're in Cleveland, and
Mhm.
Cleveland's a big, like, kind of foodie town. I think we kind of fly under the radar a little bit. So because we have so much, so many chefs, so much like food industry people in this town, it kind of helped. We saw a niche within
Mhm.
like our community that there really wasn't anyone like designers would make it look pretty, but they wouldn't actually know all of the ins and outs of the strategic side around adding nutritional labels. Do you have the right co-man? Like, can you scale? Like all of the logistical sides of things. And that's really like where we can come in and help beyond just like creating packaging and branding solutions is really thinking through like the whole spectrum of the
Mhm.
needs that you're going to have as a food business. So,
I was wondering if you could tell me about some of the Cleveland area companies that have enlisted Fizz Creative for their branding and packaging needs, and also if there's been any companies outside of the Cleveland area you've helped as well.
oh
Yeah,
yeah.
sure.
We've worked across the US and
Mhm.
Canada. So one of our clients is in Saskatchewan. Another client is in Toronto.
Mhm.
The Toronto client, he has like a frozen entree product called Vici. And that product is available all across Canada. And we've also worked with like local people. Anywhere from like Nestle to smaller, kind of
Mhm.
organizations, pre-revenue. So, for example, we've worked
Mhm.
with Nine Spoon Soup back here. They're a family-owned soup business. They're available all across Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, and Michigan.
And in Pennsylvania too, I think.
And now, yeah,
They're
into
like 6 or 7
Pennsylvania.
states.
Yeah.
But like they were one of our first like 7 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we really
So,
enjoyed watching them grow.
yeah,
Hmm.
so we love mostly like we like working with clients that are more established in business, and then we can kind of come in and help them grow to that next level. So most of our clients, they have kind of like starter branding or starter packaging, but they found that it's not enough to kind of get noticed in a more like larger retail
Hmm.
market. So that's where we come in to help them stand out in a much more meaningful way.
Well, what kind of creative strategies do you guys employ to drive effective packaging solutions?
Ooh, so
That's a good question.
yeah. So first of all, we love to walk grocery stores and just see competition. That's number one. You have to see who's a competitor in your space and what's their shelf presence like. So often when we have a new client, we will walk the grocery stores where they would potentially be in, especially like anything from regional stores all the way up to like larger malls or larger retailers like
Mhm.
Whole Foods, things like that. And we'll just kind of look at the shelf placement and like who's on shelf, what is the overall, like, what does their bottle look like? What does their jar look like, box, whatever? And then how can we differentiate our client? Is it by a different sort of bottle shape? Is it a different sort of finish material? Like, how are we going to
Well,
make them stand out and be
yeah.
different?
So some clients, they start in like a tray, like a flour pasta was having like fresh pasta in like a tray with like had a sealed plastic lip.
Hmm.
But that's a lot of labor and doesn't keep as long. So we move them to a plastic pouch, a stand-up pouch with a gusset and an oxygen barrier. So instead of 14 days, you can get 21 to 28 days out of that shelf life.
Hmm. Oh,
Um,
and it increased their shelf presence.
yeah,
They went from like a shelf presence of like this
yeah, and for
to
that,
like for the side of their tray to like a
mhm,
tall like pouch. So, I mean, it's stuff like that too, like thinking through like when it's on the shelf, like what is that presence going to be? I think that that's another thing that sometimes like designers don't think about, like they don't think in terms of how is something going to live beyond just like you creating it on your computer. So, really being
mhm.
strategic and like looking at competition.
And another good resource for like kind of community trends, food trends, is we attend like Expo East, which is now been moved to Newtopia concept.
Mhm.
In the past, it was in Philadelphia, for example, and then we do like a fancy food show. The next one's in late January coming up. So
Yeah.
that's a great place to see a couple thousand brands all together in a similar vein to like a lot of our clients who are like healthier, for example, of healthy foods
Hmm.
or clean label kind of foods.
Hmm.
So that's a great place to see several thousand competitors all at once and go, what's trending? How are styles going? What are the new foods? What are new ingredients? So we're trying to just keep up on everything in the industry that way as well.
Yeah. Hmm.
Well, I know in your company, brand storytelling can be really important. So I was just curious, what kind of storytelling methods do you think is strongest nowadays when it comes to connecting with modern consumers?
Consumers, I think, really care about their health, and they're becoming increasingly more conscious of their impact on the environment. So retailers, like we try to have good connections with our retailers that we recommend for clients, and they all want like a company that has a cause or has something that, are they minority owned? Are they, a B Corp? Are they woman owned?
Mhm.
All of these kinds of things are helpful, but then also ingredients as well. Like, are they certified non-GMO? Are they organic? Like, so like not only like from the social impact side, but also from the health impact side, is consumers
Mhm.
increasingly are reading labels and very aware of companies that are providing a quality product, not only for your body, but for your community.
Yeah. And I think also worth mentioning is I think people want a connection. So like authenticity is very big now too, where it doesn't want it doesn't have to be like a huge corporation. It can be something where a meaningful story or just like how the founder got started in the business is very useful.
Yeah.
It just sort of has that like tie. Like I'm not just a corporation trying to make a profit. I'm trying to push my mission, my beliefs to help
Yeah.
other people. Like we have one client, she's sensitive to nightshades, so like she makes nightshade free inflammation free products or
Hmm.
top inflammatory free products.
Yeah. Or like Vici, they have a give back program.
Hmm.
So every meal that's purchased, they give back to the community another meal. So like,
Yeah.
it's stuff like that. I know that may seem like, maybe silly or not as important, but I think consumers more than ever, you need to have like a message. You need to have like something that you're trying to communicate beyond just
Buy my stuff.
buy my
Yeah.
stuff.
Sure.
Well, what do you feel are the strongest trends nowadays when it comes to premium design for food and beverage brands? And how does Fizz go about delivering such elevated solutions?
First of all, I think that it's finding the right print partner, pretty soon into the design process. So having a strategy around thinking through the kind of jar you're going to use, the kind of label you're going to use, and like finding a print partner that can do a good number of different offerings. So like, can they do foil? Can they do, whatever it is? Like, so really thinking through like, being strategic in how you approach that. So for example, with 9 Spoons, what we did for them is we wanted to have a metallic underbase, so it really showed through like the metallic look of the packaging behind, and like giving it again like a more premium feel. So we worked with a packaging supplier to find exactly the kind of like process that we wanted to use. And then once we got that and approved by the client, then we went ahead and delivered against that. So I think that it's making sure that you're really thinking with the end in mind of what the look is that you want to achieve. Making sure that you're differentiating yourself from market competitors. And whether that's a premium could be anything from like adding foils, or even like, do you want to have something that's a much more like punchy brand identity piece that maybe doesn't require extra fancy printing, but it just requires like an illustrator to work with us or something like that. So that's kind of like, it's a very like case by case basis of how we approach that kind of thing. I think that the biggest goal that we have is making sure that we're market disruptors.
I think a strong brand should be very visually impactful in one way or another. And obviously, there's a lot of styles we can go towards, now. But certainly something that has a strong voice that's consistent, that doesn't get muddled down. Okay, we did juices, now we have a dry product. Let's keep those components consistent so people can see the correlation. And I think like other things that might play in is strong color story, and obviously like keeping things relatively minimal so it's not just trying to fill the space.
Yeah.
And that's certainly a trend now, is like more minimal, bold things in the
Yeah.
marketplace.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing a trend towards the minimal, bold, minimal, but definitely bold, I would say. So.
Fantastic. Well, that's all the time that we have for today. Katie and Jasen Melnick of Fizz Creative, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Oh,
Well,
our
thank you so
pleasure.
much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And thank you all for watching.